Hey guys, Sledgehammer70 back, and today I want to do a quick video or driving vlog of how to go about buying your new Camaro. Now, let me get my parking brake set. I'm in my driveway. I got AC on here. Let me turn this down. Hopefully it's fairly quiet. So, when you go about buying your 2016 Camaro, whether it's an LT, an SS, a 2SS, a ZL1, a 1LE, you know, the sky's the limit on where you can go or what you can do. Now, the first thing I would recommend is find a reputable dealer. The best way to go about that, go to the Camaro 6 forums, talk with some of the guys online that have purchased cars at places, find out what kind of incentives dealerships offer. There's all sorts of things. Like, you can get lifetime oil changes or maintenance, and like a lot of these dealerships out there, they offer different incentives to their buyers. Like, that should be a key thing you look at first, not just, oh hey, I'm gonna go down to my local Chevy dealership and, you know, see what they have to offer and what they're gonna give me. You know, shop around. You know, you're the buyer. You get to choose where you want to go and how you want to do this. The second thing is, know what you want to get. Now, walking into a dealership and going for a test drive is probably a good thing to do. Like, you should do that regardless. Go out, test drive the different models, the different offerings, the different options. Man, there's a lot of traffic. And get a feel for the car you want. Do you want a manual? Do you want an auto? Do you want a V8? Do you want a V6? Like, what exactly are you looking to get, and are you going to be happy with the decision you're going to make? And good Lord, there's so many cars. And once you figure that out, once you figure out all the trim options you want, like, test drive one that has magnetic ride control, one that doesn't, one that has the dual mode exhaust MPP, or one that doesn't. Like, totally get yourself wrapped up around the options that you want before you go down and talk to a salesperson or anything. You know, once you figure out kind of what you want, I should say, before you go down and talk to a salesperson about buying the car, you know, I'm going this way. School must have just got out. Holy cow. So, once you have that all figured out, once you go and test drive a couple cars with no intention to purchase, like, don't let your emotions get a hold of you. You know, I highly recommend contacting their fleet department or their online sales team. And the reason why I do this is mainly because you tell them what you want. Now, a lot of people out there will say, you know, if you know a salesman at a dealership, go through them. You know, you could do that. But what I have always done, and in the instance of just about every car I've ever purchased, is I outlined the car that I wanted. I then went ahead and detailed out what I knew the price was, and I would go to their fleet manager and say, look, this, our online sales fleet, and be like, look, I want to buy this, and I want to pay this much for it. Obviously within reason, and obviously maybe potentially not even throwing out the different kind of rebates and offers that are out there. So knowing I can even save more money by potential offers that may be going on, but it's basically, you know, the prices are out there. People know what invoice price is for the dealership. It's usually a couple $1,000s below the sticker price. So let's just say you're looking at a fully loaded 2SS, 48, 49,000. I would literally send an email and like, look, I'm looking to get into this car for 47 grand. Like, with all these options, if you can make it happen, we can make a deal. You know, never go down and get in a position where they're bartering back and forth with you, or they're taking your credit and getting all your information and telling you, oh, your payment's going to be this much money. Like, understand what you're, you know, what you can pay. There's tons of sites out here. I'll link one. Actually, I'll link it in the video description below, like a site that I have used. But know what your payments are going to be, you know, before you go in. So at that rate, you don't have to deal with that. And you can go the extra layer and even go get yourself pre-approved ahead of time. Yeah. So the biggest thing I would give you guys advice for is not only just making sure you know what you want, going in, being the command there. Never walk away with them telling you what you should want or should get. You know, it's all about the customer. And if the dealership's not bending over backwards to please you, and they don't give you all sorts of goodies like free oil changes, or like my dealership, lifetime free oil changes, free dent repair, and like just those two things alone are like, okay, that's actually worth quite a bit of money over the life of the vehicle. It's not like, oh my God, free maintenance forever, but those are two really cool items that you can get on the car. At least from my dealership. I went with Paradise Chevrolet in Temecula, California. The other side is Paradise Chevrolet is all about their customers. If you're ever happy or dissatisfied, not happy, they are quick to do whatever they can to appease you. You know, like I've had plenty of times where I've heard stories from people who've purchased at Paradise where, hey man, my car was out of warranty by 1,000 miles and blew a transmission, and Paradise made it work. Now I can't guarantee they'll do that for you, but you know, hearing stories and reading online, you know, feedback and stuff like that, it's critical, you know, in this day and age, and you have pure right to go where you want. But the bigger thing when buying a vehicle, it comes down to actually inspecting the vehicle you're buying. So one thing that I didn't do, or that I did do, I should say, is I didn't sign all the paperwork until I fully walked the car and saw it detailed and washed and everything. And a lot of you guys know my story. There was haze marks in the paint. The clear coat looked like there was just massive haze marks. And I pointed it out to the sales guy, and the sales guy's like, you know what, that looks like it's in the clear coat. We can buff it out. If it's something worse, we'll take care of it. Basically, everything that I saw, they wrote down on paper. So I knew exactly what we walked through. They knew exactly what they were promising up front before I drove away with the car to get fixed or to address. Because not every car ships from the factory perfect. Most do. But you know, sometimes a car will have problems or will have issues. And I think it's not the dealership's fault. It's the way it comes from, you know, factory, or from traveling on a truck and trailer, or a train and truck and trailer. Like, these cars go through a lot to get to us. And so fully inspecting your vehicle is key. The other side is it's not just, oh, let's look at the outside and make sure the paint looks good and there's not scratches. Like, a lot of the fine scratches, those can be polished out. You know, like, that's gonna happen. You're gonna get that, who knows what from. I mean, my car was so dirty when it arrived, but you know, finite stuff like that can be polished out. It's good to go. That's, I mean, unless it's like a deep scratch with chips in it, you know, then you should be worried. But outside of that, checking the door jambs, checking the inside of the fenders, your trunk, your door seals, like, those are all things that you should look at and make sure the paint looks good, make sure there's coverage, you know, fit and finish. You know, sit in the car, look around at all the trim details, make sure there's no crazy blaring gaps, or turn the stereo up, listen, make sure all the speakers are working right. You know, go through all the things. Like, they do the sit down where it's like, hey, we're gonna walk you through all the features of this vehicle. Like, literally go through every feature, make sure everything works, check your seat. There was quite a few people that their seats weren't reclining. Now, these seats don't recline nearly as much as the 5th gens regardless, but you know, it's the little things. You know, make the seats go back and forth, make sure the back seat folds down, you know, check the rims for scratches and dings and whatnot, especially if you get the black ones. You know, I've seen plenty of rims come from the factory that have dings and scratches in them. You know, make sure the dealer knows, get them replaced. But yeah, I mean, the sound, make sure it sounds good opening up, pop the hood, listen to the motor. Even if you have to, run two side by side. Be like, hey, you know what? It'd be great if I could just hear both of these cars running side by side to make sure they sound the same. Like, give yourself, not everyone's a car person, and not everyone knows what to listen for. But if you have two cars side by side, they sound identical, then hey, you know what? That's probably running pretty good. But if you're running your car, or the car you're potentially gonna buy, and the one next to it sounds different, or there's a hissing noise, or something's not right, like, you're gonna pick up on that right away before you drive that car home and sign that paperwork, you know, and you don't have to deal with those potential problems. And you know, these are production cars. They're gonna have some problems. They will run into some issues, and you know, they're made by humans and robots, and they're not gonna always be perfect. So you know, just make sure you really review the car. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't trust dealerships to wash their brand new cars. And I don't disagree with that, because I've seen a lot of dealers, they hire minimum wage workers, they wash the cars, they use the same rags and the same towels, and they can actually put a lot of those fine scratches in your brand new clear coat. But that also comes down to working with a dealer that has a very good reputation. Like, I know my dealership has really good detail guys that actually take care of the car. You know, they don't necessarily just wash it, but they even clay barred the car. But when I took delivery, and that's when all the haze marks were revealed. Like, we never saw that under the dirt until it was actually cleaned. But yeah, you know, do your due diligence, review your car, like spend an hour or more with it. Like, if you're doing a quick, hey, I'm gonna walk around the car for 5 minutes, you did not spend enough time with the car. And the other thing is if you can, if it's nighttime and you're looking at the car and you're ready to sign paperwork, like, have them pull the car around to their service center where you can look at the car under, like, not just parking lot lights. Like, hey, is your service center open, or can we bring the car over to the service center so I can see it under some like, you know, regular lighting, indoor lighting? Because you're going to see a lot of different things in the paint and whatnot, versus what you would see in the sunlight at high noon, or even versus just outside day, like lamps, like for the parking lot. So keep that in mind as well. So, but that's about all I have to say. I mean, in general, it's a car buying experience is fun, but you also just don't want to deal with the problems that can happen, and they do happen. There's tons of people on the forums on Camaro 6 that have ran into issues or had problems, or their dealership just sucked, but they love the car so much. It's like, don't fall into that trap, man. Like, if you know what car you want, there's a lot of them out there, and waiting 1 or 2 more days is not going to necessarily kill you. And it could be the difference between getting a car that potentially has some problems, or buying it from a dealer who's just terrible and will not support you in any way. And once you're out that door with signed paperwork, you're done. They don't care. Like, find a dealership who cares. Find a dealership who's calling you to be like, hey, come back in, let's check out your car, make sure everything's perfect. Like, there's a lot of them out there. Go to those guys. Even if you have to go out of state or drive a couple hours out of the way, it is so worth it. Do it. It's 2 hours. What is that really gonna, I'm a busy person, and I would do that. I'm lucky I live down the street from Paradise Chevrolet in Temecula, because they are pretty awesome. And that's not to say they don't have some faults. There probably is some faults there, but they have been a great dealer for me, especially through my ordeal. They stepped up to bat. They worked directly with GM. I mean, great dealership. I have nothing but good things to say about them. So, but that's it. That's my rant. It's my second drive with Sledge, and if you guys are out there looking to buy a car, let me know in the comments. You know, I would love to see your guys' cars. So post below, let me know, and until next time, guys, I'll see you on the road.